It's interesting. You see a journalist covering a terrible devastation, any type of thing going on, but then they don't debrief and talk about what they just experienced seeing a traumatic incident. That then in turn leads to trauma for the journalists that they don't know that they have.
Doesn't impact you, so you just move on. And I don't know, sometimes in the newsroom you laugh about things and you're like, okay, should I, now I'm an a-hole because I'm laughing, but that's the only way I know how to get past it. So you're working with a bunch of people who are reading about this, going out to scenes and seeing bodies on the floor, or the cameraman comes back and I have to go look at the video and say, editors, don't cut this, we see the body. So it's like, how do you deal with that?
He told me, you have a problem. You have an eating disorder, you have anxiety, and you need to go get help. And I remember thinking, black people don't have eating disorders. What you talking about? We don't. That's not something we have, no. And he was like, no, you're not eating, you're losing weight, you're stressed out, right? And even after a year, it took a year after he told me that for me to finally go to see a therapist. It took me so long to call a therapist because I just kept thinking, how could sitting on a couch talking to someone really help me? How can I really solve my problems? But let me tell you, it does. It was a lifesaver. Honestly, if I would not have made it through Chattanooga without my therapist, I owe her my life because she was there for me. She was someone that I could vent to, that I could open up to, that I could share 100% everything and not feel judged, not feel questioned. Because sometimes in our industry, we'll open up to our families and friends and they're like, but you're on TV and you seem so happy and da da da. And you're like, no, I'm struggling, sis. I'm really having a hard time right now. Help me.
Same me, but with regard to your question, how do we deal with it?
Yeah.
I think it's contingent on the person, right? Make sure you have your hobbies in order. Make sure you have things that you like to do. For me, it's coaching. So I've always coached, whether I'm in Macon, coaching little kids, basketball, co-ed basketball. I'm in Fort Myers, I'm coaching the lacrosse team. I'm active. I'm working with the churches. In Fort Myers, we put together a summer program that was completely free to kids in the lower income neighborhoods. And we had them working the first half of the day, second half of the day, they were in school with teachers that we got from Fort Myers to teach them different things. So if my energy's not put into something outside of news, I'm done. Right? Because it takes so much from us, this news thing, especially if you're hooked, if you love the game, you're always in it, you're locked in. Even when you're off the clock, you're reading about it. And that's cool. Love the game, appreciate it. But at the same time, if you're not doing something outside of this, it'll drive you crazy just because of the nature of what we're talking about on a daily basis. So that's been my personal therapy.
Black journalists specifically have to deal with issues that other journalists may not. And that's what we talked about today. You saw it here. People standing up and talking, some for the very first time, unleashing their feelings that needed to be let go. We were here for them. We hugged, we spoke, we talked to each other, and it was important.
Went to grab a text message on my couch. I thought I just responded to the text and went back to the kitchen. That wasn't the case. Responded to the text message, I had fallen asleep. You don't know how long that grease was on the stove. I'd gotten up instantly, remembered that I had something on the stove, got up, looked at it. What I put on the stove was a red skillet. It was black when I grabbed it, okay? Not fully conscious, not fully aware. I grabbed it with my bare hand. Instantly said, okay, how do I get this fire out? Water. I know not to do that. In that moment, I did it, exploded. I lost every single thing in my apartment. I lost everything. The only thing I had left, my TV and like a couch. Not the couch, my bar stools. And my life. And my life.
Right.
So it's critically important to take care of yourself because I thought I was moving. I had to do this. That forced me to take a step back and realize the importance of taking a nap. The importance, these are small things. The importance of taking a nap, the importance of telling your bosses, you know what, I can't do it today. I stayed late before, today I just need to go home and take care of myself. And then 3, you've got to be able to get to a place to where it's okay to be vulnerable. We're not perfect. And it's okay to not be perfect. So that was a prime example. I think that was just God telling me, hey, I need you to get these things in line. It forced me to take care of my health, my fitness. That traumatic incident in my life forced me to do a whole lot of other things that made my life fully complete now. And it's okay, those breakdown moments will happen. It's how you bounce back. And be thankful for this organization, these people in this room that you can connect with and say, hey bro, I messed up. We're gonna help you. And be honest, we messed up too. So we're gonna be messed up together.
Because I've seen a lot of traumatic things. I do like these cold case things a lot of times, and I come into contact with people who have grieving relatives, and just the violence rate in Baltimore is so high, as some people in the room may know. And it impacts, if not somebody you know, then that next person. I mean, my barber got shot and killed last week, and so I have to find somebody to give me a new haircut, And so, what do you recommend as far as just entry level into, going into seeking any sort of therapy for yourself? I know we talked about having that social network of people, and then also you hear people talk about, go see a therapist. I grew up in a black household where they said talk to the Lord about it, but that's not enough for me. So what do you recommend as far as just kind of that? Because because initially you're embarrassed about it, right? You don't want to let people know that you're weak. But when you are in those, I'm appreciative for the network that I do have, but when you're in those moments, you're like, dang, I can't even get a cut anymore because of the violence that you're witnessing. What do you recommend as far as just that entry level getting into that?
So if prayer is your way, I talked to Jesus, he said, go see a therapist. So there you go. But you can see a Christian therapist. There are Christian therapists out there who integrate Bible philosophy, theology. You hear all the time, when you get on the airplane, put your mask on first before help. You cannot tell great stories if you are messed up, if you cannot focus, if you are anxious, if you are depressed, you're going to lose your job. And we all know about burnout, right? The World Health Organization talked about it, and that's one of the new symptoms or new experiences that get people to these doctors. So go do something about it.
Sometimes I do feel bad because I wasn't out there at the mass shooting. I'm only talking to you, trying to figure out what elements you have for the show so we can get on the road. So it's it is hard to realize that you are going through trauma too. For some reason, car accidents are what really were bothering me in Jacksonville. We got them every day. We got to put a car accident in. Now I'm reading it. Now I'm reading people were ejected, and there was a kid in the car. And then you're in the car driving okay, I could get in an accident.
And there's a lot of pedestrians in Jacksonville.
That's what I'm saying.
Dudes out there walking the middle of the road like this.
I don't know. It's just you never know what's going to trigger your trauma. And even though, the producers are inside, we are still reading what you guys are, the reports and everything. I know you guys are out, the reporters are out there experiencing it, but, every day we're making the decision, does this shooting matter? There's so many that come in, what do you want to put in the newscast? So that, I do think producers need to speak up and find someone else to talk to about it, because like I said, when that shooting happened with the drug deal gone bad, I was just sitting at my desk sad because it just hit me in a place that I wasn't expecting it to, and then everyone in the newsroom acted like just another black person dead from a drug deal. So it's just have someone to speak to, and if you are a producer, you do go through it as well.
The game product. In Jacksonville, I think Jacksonville, he is 60% black and 80 something black.
It's pretty high, it's like 40-50%.
Yeah, like 40-50% black in Detroit. I mean, everybody's black. But in my newsroom, where I am now, we have a very diverse on-air staff. So they think that's okay. We have a black person there, a black person there. But in the meeting where it matters, on Monday, I'm the only black person. Tuesday, I think it's two of us. In that meeting that matters. And so it's hard to, you can pitch it all day, you can have a great pitch. But if your managers are not like you and they don't understand your story, it won't get, a lot of times it won't get told. And so I think that is my greatest obstacle. And I be in the meetings mad. I mean, mad. But you just have to, for young journalists, you just have to find a different way to pitch it. If it doesn't work the first time, try it again the second time. And, and eventually it'll work. And so, but you just, the greatest obstacle is that you have to fight 10 times harder to get something done than your white counterparts. And like I said, Detroit is 100% black. So you would think that we would want to tell those type of stories, but in the suburbs where they live, that's all they know, And so I think that's my greatest obstacle.
Can I just piggyback on
Oh, this news director he's pretty sexist, which was something new for me because I grew up in the South. I'm from Georgia. I'm used to racism. I almost expect it sometimes. But sexism is a different beast that I would have never experienced and was not prepared for. So to have someone that did not like me for the fact that I was an opinionated woman was just new territory. And so I had to learn how to stand up for myself. And when standing up for myself, I would be punished for standing up for myself and told that I was difficult to work with and that I was, crazy and that, all of these negative things that, and particularly black women are labeled with when we stand up for ourselves and don't take the bullshit, And so I was doing that. And the most traumatic experience was for 6 months, my news director thought it was okay to have me be the weekend anchor, reporter, MMJ, producer, and everything on the weekends in a 89 market, and the market was 89, shootings happening on the daily, and I'm running out trying to film, edit the shit, write it up, produce it, and anchor it, and I'm only making $26,000 a year? That's crazy, right? I remember at one point sitting in my room, looking at myself in the mirror, what the hell is going on? I'm miserable, I'm strained, I'm just stressed out.
That what just happened affected you. I think I was so sensitive by the time I got to the end of my career that any tiny story, I was like, Lord Jesus, I felt it as if it was me, involved in that story. So while you're young and going through it, work through it. You might not understand that, but talk to someone. You might, sometimes I've had news directors say, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm good, don't worry about it. Towards the end of my career, I was like, oh man, don't send me out on that again, So that's important. So I wanted to read this last bit.
And so when you're looking at all this content and you see all this stuff happening and you're supposed to do a job and you're supposed to not care about what's going on, but get something out quick, fast, in a hurry, it's a problem. It's a huge problem. And it can impact, like I said earlier, everything in your life. And it can come crashing down. So take those moments, connect with someone in the newsroom, other producers in the newsroom, and talk about what's happening. Have a debrief hour. Let's just talk about these stories. Not if it's going to be a bow side or how to package for tomorrow or what really happened today. And how do you feel about that?
Right.
How did that impact, putting the story together? Take some moments at the end of the day with your colleagues to talk about stories. It doesn't take a lot, but really take a moment. That's the key. Take a moment. And what we did earlier today, breathing. Breathing can change your attitude and change your trajectory for the whole day if you just take a moment. We do a lot of shallow breathing. Half of you guys aren't breathing right now. Take a moment to breathe deeply. Breathe deeply. Talk to, yes. It's that simple. It's that simple. It's that simple.
Thank you. Thank you to the panelists that came out and shared their stories and experiences and heard what everyone had to say. Thank you to those of you that came out and gave a damn about your emotions and what you go through as an individual, and for sharing your story as well. Thank you to anyone who has ever listened to someone or to anyone who has spoken about what they're going through. It matters.